Taking a spiritual journey to acknowledge and accept divine peace. We discover that our souls are dancing to the beat of love that will last forever when we are in the loving embrace of the divine. When we allow God to enter our hearts and make us receptive to His holy presence, His peace comes down upon us like a soft rain, removing the dust that is caused by our anxieties and fears. Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who are laboring and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest on your shoulders." During this holy time, let the love of God to permeate every part of your being and fill you with their warmth. Imagine that His arms, which are a haven of calm and grace, are wrapping you in a cocoon of unending tranquility. You are enfolded in a peace that is beyond comprehension here, in the midst of the heavenly embrace that surrounds you. "I leave peace with you. I give my peace to you," the speaker said. "Not in the same way that the world provides, I give to you." It is said in John 14:27, "Let not your hearts be troubled, nor let them be afraid." Experience the calming balm of God's presence as it heals the scars of your past and mends the fractures in your heart with the threads of divine love. The moment His Spirit begins to flow through you, it sparks a pleasure that comes out from the depths of your soul, an unbreakable tranquility that settles you among the storms that life brings. In the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24 and 26, it is written that the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. When you find yourself in a state of calm thought, it is important to keep in mind that this heavenly serenity is not only a fleeting sensation, but rather a condition of being anchored in the unchanging love of God. Embrace it as a guiding light, a constant companion on your path, and make it your mission to ensure that each step you take is filled with elegance and purpose. Permit this tranquility to serve as a demonstration of the presence of God ever present in your life. May His love and peace light through you as you go about your daily life, serving as a beacon of hope and joy to everyone you come in contact with. Divine embrace and peace. A. One's encounter with the divine embrace. An experience that is profoundly spiritual and is marked by a close and personal connection with the presence of God is referred to as the notion of God's divine embrace. Taking into consideration the following specific factors will allow you to properly enjoy this embrace. Make a sacred moment by setting up a certain location and period of time for this connection. This may be accomplished via prayer, meditation, or solitary thought. For the sake of this holy moment, it is important to put aside all distractions and concentrate completely on the presence of God. When approaching this period, it is very necessary to do so with respect and an open heart. You should make an effort to open your heart in order to accept the love and serenity that God has to offer. In order to do this, it is necessary to make a deliberate effort to let go of worries, concerns, and reservations, and to exhibit vulnerability in front of the divine. You should have faith that the love of God is unchanging and that it includes every aspect of your existence, which will provide you a feeling of security and acceptance. In order to receive peace, you must first let the peace of God to wash over you and fill you with a profound inner calm. This calm is not only a momentary sensation, rather, it is a deep level of tranquility that endures in spite of the situations that are occurring outside of oneself. Allowing this calm to permeate your whole being and bring about a transformation in your thoughts and feelings is of utmost importance. 2. The outcomes of the divine peace. Healing of wounds. The peace that comes from God is like a soothing balm for emotional and spiritual wounds that have been healed in the past. By addressing and easing the suffering that was caused by earlier events, it brings about healing, therefore assisting you in finding closure and peace. Joy and serenity. When you are able to experience this heavenly peace, it often results in a condition of joy and serenity that is beyond your comprehension. This pleasure is not dependent on circumstances that are just fleeting. Rather, it is based on the unchanging and everlasting conviction that God's love and presence are present in your life. A profound feeling of happiness and equilibrium, which is anchored in your connection with the divine, is reflected in the quality of serenity, reassurance, and direction. Accepting this tranquility also implies that you are getting direction and reassurance from God. You will gain clarity and direction, which will assist you in navigating the problems that life presents with confidence. You are reassured of God's unwavering support and dedication to your well-being when you are presented with the serenity that He has provided. 3. The importance of belief. Holding fast to assurance. The heavenly serenity inspires you to cling to your faith with all your might for support. This calm acts as a reminder of God's unwavering love and constancy every time there is a moment of uncertainty or trouble. When you are confronted with challenges, it enables you to maintain your faith and steadfastness in your views. Managing difficulties. When you have the peace that comes from God, you are more able to deal with challenges. When confronted with the challenges that life throws to us, the inner peace and pleasure that result from this heavenly embrace serve as a counterweight, so offering strength and resilience. Experiencing transformation. When you decide to accept the peace that God has provided, it not only changes your internal condition, but also the way you interact with the outside world. It helps you develop a feeling of compassion, empathy, and grace, which in turn affects how you react to other people and how you deal with complicated circumstances. 4. How to embrace the divine peace through practical steps. Daily practice. In order to keep a constant relationship with God, it is important to include daily activities such as praying, meditating, or reading holy literature. The feeling of heavenly calm may be maintained via the use of these techniques, which also assist to keep your heart open to His presence. Spend some time thought about the promises of God and the ways in which His peace has influenced your life. This is an example of reflective contemplation. Keeping a journal in which you record your thoughts and feelings might assist in enhancing and strengthening your comprehension of this heavenly embrace. When you live out peace, you make it possible for the peace that you get from God to be a part of your everyday life. If you want to approach your dealings with other people, your career, and the obstacles you face in your personal life with the same peace and pleasure that you feel when you are in contact with the divine, you should do so. In a nutshell, experiencing the divine embrace and peace that God offers requires establishing a profound and intimate relationship with the divine, which in turn brings about healing, joy, and tranquility. It is necessary to engage in deliberate activities in order to cultivate and maintain this connection, which will guarantee that the life-altering impacts of divine calm are completely incorporated into your existence. 2.2%. It was you who said, "You should compose a gorgeous huck lines as well as a sum total of spiritual material." As ChatGPT put it, the ChatGPT without a doubt. A lovely composition that combines poetry words that come from the heart with thoughts that are spiritual in nature is as follows: taking a spiritual journey to acknowledge and accept divine peace. We discover that our souls are dancing to the beat of love that will last forever when we are in the loving embrace of the divine. When we allow God to enter our hearts and make us receptive to His holy presence, His peace comes down upon us like a soft rain, removing the dust that is caused by our anxieties and fears. Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who are laboring and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest on your shoulders." During this holy time, let the love of God to permeate every part of your being and fill you with their warmth. Imagine that His arms, which are a haven of calm and grace, are wrapping you in a cocoon of unending tranquility. You are enfolded in a peace that is beyond comprehension here, in the midst of the heavenly embrace that surrounds you. I leave peace with you. I give my peace to you, the speaker said. Not in the same way that the world provides, I give to you. It is said in John 14:27, "Let not your hearts be troubled, nor let them be afraid." Experience the calming balm of God's presence as it heals the scars of your past and mends the fractures in your heart with the threads of divine love. The moment His Spirit begins to flow through you, it sparks a pleasure that comes out from the depths of your soul, an unbreakable tranquility that settles you among the storms that life brings. In the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24 and 26, it is written that, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace." When you find yourself in a state of calm thought, it is important to keep in mind that this heavenly serenity is not only a fleeting sensation, but rather a condition of being anchored in the unchanging love of God. You should accept it as a guiding light and a constant companion on your trip. This will ensure that each step you take is filled with elegance and purpose, unwavering support and guidance. 1. The unwavering presence of one God, divine reassurance. The unflinching support of God ensures that His presence is always there, regardless of the difficulties and tests that you are going through. This promise of His is not only a momentary solace, rather, it is a reality that is unwavering and unchangeable. He has given you the assurance that His support will continue to be steady and dependable, regardless of where you are or what you are going through. God is not a bystander, but rather an active player in your life. This is the personal connection that God has with you. The assistance He provides is highly individualized and adapted to your specific requirements and conditions. You have been extended an invitation to feel His presence on a more personal level, with the knowledge that He is present in every facet of your life, both emotionally and spiritually. 2. Assistance in navigating the obstacles of life. The advice that God provides enables you to maneuver through the challenges that life throws at you with clarity and purpose. His advice and guidance will give you with direction and insight, regardless of whether you are dealing with personal issues, professional obstacles, or emotional struggles. You are able to locate the route ahead with His assistance, even when the road seems to be blocked by ambiguity. Divine knowledge. Have faith in the divine knowledge that is directing you. This instruction from God often manifests itself in the form of periods of introspection, inspiration, and intuition. There are many places where you may find it, including the teachings of ancient writings, the advice of respected mentors, or the quiet whisper of your own heart. Your choices and actions are guided by this knowledge, which brings them into alignment with the intent and purpose of the divine. 3. Power in the face of adversity support that lasts. When you are confronted with challenges, the support of God will present itself as strength and capacity for resilience. Through the strengthening of your spirit, He enables you to persevere and triumph over difficulties. You are able to endure through difficulties with the assistance of this divine power, which reassures you that you are not alone and that you possess the inner resources necessary to deal with challenges. Emotional solace and reassurance. In times of trouble, God's help includes the provision of emotional comfort, which also includes the provision of solace. Fears are calmed, worry is minimized, and a sense of peace is brought to hearts that are afflicted by His presence. The consolation that you are receiving serves as a reminder that you are held and treasured, even during the most difficult of circumstances. 4. Inspiration and inspiration to motivate. The assistance that God provides includes raising your mood and offering encouragement to you when you are feeling dejected. His words and promises provide hope and drive, so assisting you in maintaining a good attitude and maintaining your focus on your objectives. Because of this encouragement, your resolve is strengthened, and your trust in the trip that lies ahead is strengthened. Confidence in mission. When you receive divine direction, you are able to develop confidence in both your journey and your mission. In order to provide you with the certainty that you are heading in the correct route, God assists you in comprehending and accepting your one-of-a-kind calling. The understanding that His intentions for you are full of hope and a possibility for the future is the foundation upon which this confidence is built. 5. Techniques that can help you feel the support of the divine, praying and reflecting. Make it a habit to pray and reflect on a regular basis in order to locate and feel the assistance of God. You are able to communicate your needs, seek advice, and get consolation via prayer, since it is a direct channel of connection with the divine. You are better able to comprehend and assimilate the heavenly messages and insights that you get when you engage in reflection. Scriptures are a source of knowledge and encouragement. Thus, it is important to consult them. The Scriptures provide direction, comfort, and instruction that may be put into practice while overcoming the problems that life presents. When you completely immerse yourself in these teachings, you bring your actions into alignment with the principles of the divine and get insight on how to deal with a variety of circumstances. In order to offer oneself with extra support and direction, it is important to surround yourself with a religion community that encourages fellowship. Your other Christians are able to assist you in prayer, provide words of encouragement, and share their expertise with you. Additionally, the spiritual assistance that you experience on a personal level is strengthened by this community component of religion. Journaling and meditation. If you want to chronicle your experiences of heavenly help and direction, you should keep a diary throughout your life. Consider instances in which you experienced clarity, comfort, and encouragement. Your comprehension and appreciation of God's unflinching support will be strengthened via meditation on these events. 6. Divine guidance being experienced in one's day-to-day life. In the process of making choices on a daily basis, it is important to pray and use discernment to seek God's direction. Have confidence that He will guide you to make decisions that are in accordance with His will and the purpose that He has for your life. Through this divine direction, you may be certain that the choices you make are in accordance with His purpose and that they contribute to your total development and satisfaction. In your daily contacts with other people, be sure to use the direction that God has given you. You should let His values of love, compassion, and honesty to guide your actions and the relationships you find yourself in. By doing so, you are able to share the support and knowledge that you get from Him with people around you, so contributing to the creation of an atmosphere that is good and peaceful. 1. It is time to ask for forgiveness. Forgiveness is a deep spiritual and emotional act that entails letting go of bitterness and the desire for retaliation. Understanding forgiveness is difficult since it requires letting go of these feelings. Allowing healing and reconciliation to take place requires letting go of the grip that past wrongs have on your heart and releasing the hold that they have on you. To go past feelings of wrath and bitterness and arrive at a place of serenity and acceptance is a decision that must be made. The divine model of forgiveness. God is portrayed as the ultimate model of forgiveness in a number of different spiritual traditions. For instance, the teachings of Jesus in Christianity highlight the significance of forgiveness, both receiving it from God and extending it to others. This is true for both receiving and giving forgiveness. As shown by the divine example, forgiveness is not only a gesture, but rather an essential component of love and grace within a relationship. 2. Having the ability to forgive other people. taking responsibility for the suffering. The first stage in the process of forgiving someone is taking responsibility for the sorrow and suffering that was caused by their actions. In order to avoid ignoring your sentiments, it is essential to acknowledge and validate them by acknowledging them. It is essential for real healing that this admission be made. Making a decision to forgive. The first step in the process of forgiving someone is making a conscious decision to let go of the desire for revenge. The act of consciously deciding to let go of the unpleasant feelings that are connected to the transgression is necessary. By making this option, you are not necessarily forgetting the offense or condoning the conduct. Rather, you are liberating yourself from the grip that it has on you. Releasing resentment. Give yourself permission to let go of resentment and grudges. In order to do this, you will need to make a mental and emotional change in which you will no longer allow the victim to control your ideas and emotions. Rather than that, you should concentrate on going ahead and finding serenity inside yourself. Actionable steps to take. Pray and reflect. Devote some of your time to prayer or contemplation, asking for the fortitude and direction you need to go forward with your road of forgiveness. Beseech the divine for assistance in overcoming emotions of wrath and in developing a compassionate heart in order to accomplish these goals. Explain, if possible. If it is acceptable and would not put you in danger, explain your emotions to the individual who has caused you pain. Sometimes, having this talk may help encourage healing and mutual understanding between people. Engage in rituals that signify letting go, such as drafting a letter that you do not mail or utilizing a symbolic act like releasing a balloon. These rituals may help you understand what it means to let go. 3. The significance of extending forgiveness to oneself. Self-forgiveness. Just as it is essential to forgive other people, it is also essential to forgive oneself. Acknowledging your own errors, taking responsibility for them, and letting go of feelings of guilt and self-reproach are all necessary steps in this process. Mending self-wounds. When you forgive yourself, you are mending the wounds that you have caused to your own spirit. Recognizing your flaws, gaining wisdom from them, and moving ahead with a refreshed sense of self-compassion are all necessary steps in this process. Forgiveness of oneself. Steps to take. Self-reflection involves analyzing your acts and gaining an understanding of the justifications behind them. It is essential to have this level of self-awareness in order to confront and rectify behavior. Taking responsibility means admitting that you have made errors and not creating excuses for them. It is a step toward development and healing that this acceptance is made. Exercising compassion is showing oneself the same level of kindness and consideration that you would give to a close friend. Remind yourself that you are not the only one who makes errors, and that these mistakes do not define who you are as a whole. 4. The importance of the divine's absolution. Accepting divine forgiveness. Embrace the idea of divine forgiveness, which is often unrestricted and limitless in its scope. When you realize that God forgives you for your failings, it might make it easier for you to forgive both other people and that you forgive yourself. When you are on your own road toward forgiveness, this heavenly forgiveness may serve as a model and a source of strength for you. In order to live out divine forgiveness, you should use the experience of receiving divine forgiveness as a guide to choose how you should demonstrate forgiveness to other people. Allow the grace that God has bestowed upon you to motivate you to provide the same grace to those who have harmed you. 5. Benefits of being able to forgive. Emotional freedom. The act of forgiving someone frees one from the load of bad feelings, which in turn provides about emotional freedom. The persistent burden of harboring hatred and grudges may be alleviated by this practice, which enables you to feel relief. Forgiveness may lead to the healing of relationships and the rebuilding of trust, both of which are valuable outcomes of the forgiveness process. It paves the way for healing and reconciliation, which may ultimately result in relationships that are deeper and possess a greater capacity for understanding. You may make room for inner peace and calm by letting go of anger and resentment. This will allow you to experience personal peace. Forgiveness enables you to live a life that is more satisfying and peaceful, free from the burden of resentment that has been harbored in the past. 6. Appreciating the trip as it is continuous process. Forgiveness is often not a one-time experience, but rather a continuous process that occurs over time. This demands consistent work and dedication on your part. Reflection and spiritual activities on a regular basis might be helpful in maintaining your balance. Engage with support systems such as religion groups, therapy, or spiritual direction in order to aid you on your road toward forgiveness. Other support systems include spiritual guidance. These materials may provide encouragement as well as strategies that can be used in everyday life to help navigate complicated emotions. Celebrating growth. It is important to acknowledge and appreciate the personal development and healing that results from forgiving others. Give yourself credit for the good changes that have occurred in your emotional and spiritual well-being, as well as the progress that you have made. Forgiveness and letting go are two ideas that are closely interwoven and are vital for personal development and emotional well-being. In order to get a comprehensive understanding of them, it is necessary to investigate their psychological, emotional, and practical elements. Detailed analysis is presented as follows. Let us forgive. A. 1. The scope and the definition. It is the intentional and deliberate choice to let go of sentiments of wrath or retribution against someone who has harmed you. This is what we mean when we talk about forgiveness. It is not necessarily the same thing as making amends or approving of the action. Rather, it is the act of liberating yourself from the hold that anger and pain have on you. 2. Aspects relating to psychology. Forgiveness is a cognitive process that requires you to alter the way you think about the person or event you choose to forgive. To do this, it is frequently necessary to acknowledge that harboring anger is more detrimental to you than it is to the person with whom you are angry. Grieving may have a positive impact on one's emotional well-being by reducing feelings of tension, worry, and sadness. A feeling of inner serenity and emotional freedom is fostered as a result of this. 3rd, a step-by-step guide to forgiveness. Acknowledgement. Being aware of and accepting the suffering and anguish that has been inflicted. Refusing to acknowledge your emotions might slow down the healing process. Demonstrate empathy by making an effort to comprehend the viewpoint or the circumstances of the one who has offended you. Despite the fact that this does not justify their actions, it might assist you in changing your attention from anger to more compassion. You must make the decision to forgive. Your personal well-being is often more important than the well-being of the other person while making this choice. Release. Make a concerted effort to let go of the animosity you were feeling. The processing of emotions, keeping a diary, or consulting with a therapist might all be part of this process. 4. Benefits of being able to forgive. Improvements in mental health include alleviation of symptoms of stress and anxiety, reduction in the likelihood of developing depression, and enhancement of general psychological well-being. Improving one's cardiovascular health, alleviating chronic pain, and lowering blood pressure are all possible benefits of physical wellness. It is possible to restore relationships, or at the very least eliminate the load of bad sentiments, which makes it easier to communicate with other people without the shadow of previous complaints. 5. Frequently held misconceptions. When you forgive someone, it does not imply that you have to maintain the relationship or forget what occurred. Reconciliation is synonymous with understanding and forgiveness. It takes strength and bravery to forgive those who have wronged you and to address difficult feelings rather than allowing them to fester. Forgiveness is a sign of weakness. The act of letting go. 1. The scope and the definition. The process of abandoning connection to certain outcomes, emotions, or circumstances is included in the concept of letting go. It entails coming to terms with the fact that you are unable to exert control over everything and coming to terms with the transience of existence. 2. Considerations of an emotional nature. Acknowledgement. Acknowledge that there are certain things that are beyond your control and that clinging to them might lead you to experience even more stress. Freedom from attachment. Through the process of letting go, you are able to separate yourself from particular wishes or expectations and make room for yourself to go ahead. 3. Follow these steps to let go. Identify attachments. Comprehend what it is that you are clinging to and the reasons behind it. The examination of your expectations and goals, as well as the influence they have on your life, may be part of this process. Acceptance. Recognize and go along with the truth of the circumstance. Rather than focusing on how you would want things to be, it is essential to accept things in their current state. Reflection and mindfulness. Through the practice of mindfulness, one may learn to focus on the present moment rather than dwelling on past regrets or future worries. Contemplate the advantages of moving ahead with your life and the constraints that come with being stagnant. It is often necessary to take action measures in order to let go of something. These efforts may include making adjustments in your life or establishing new objectives in order to bring yourself into alignment with your present reality. 4. Several advantages of letting go. Emotional health allows for a reduction in stress and emotional load, which ultimately results in a state of mind that is more calm and serene. Being open to new experiences enables you to take advantage of new possibilities and experiences without being burdened by attachments to anything that happened in the past. The ability to become more flexible and robust in the face of the uncertainties that life presents is one of the benefits of increased resilience. 5. Frequently held misconceptions. It is not about eliminating memories. Rather, it is about altering your emotional attachment to them. Letting go is going through the process of forgetting. Getting rid of something is a one-time event. However, letting go is often a process that is ongoing and may call for continual work and thought. There is a reciprocal relationship between letting go and forgiving. Most of the time, forgiveness and letting go are complementary to one another. Through the process of resolving the emotional baggage that is associated with previous wounds, forgiveness may be a road to letting go. Through the removal of the emotional barriers that hinder you from genuinely moving on, letting go may make it easier to forgive. Faith and divine protection are notions that have profound roots in a variety of religious, spiritual, and philosophical traditions. Individuals are provided with a feeling of purpose and stability as a result of their frequent intertwining. A comprehensive examination of these ideas is presented as follows. Belief. 1. The scope and the definition. Generally speaking, faith is defined as a deep confidence or trust in something or someone, and it is often not contingent upon the presence of factual proof. When used in a religious or spiritual setting, it often indicates a belief in the existence of a divine presence or a higher force. 2. Aspects. Relating to psychology. Beliefs that are not supported by logical evidence, which are often derived from personal experience, teachings, or tradition, are an example of the cognitive component of faith. Individuals are able to analyze their experiences and comprehend their position in the world by using this framework. The emotional impact of faith may be seen in the way it can bring solace, hope, and perseverance in the face of hardship. It assists people in discovering meaning and purpose, which in turn helps to build emotional stability. 3. Various forms of faith. Belief in a particular god or set of deities, as well as religious theories and practices, is referred to as religious faith. Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and Hinduism are some examples of monotheistic religions. A greater feeling of confidence in a universal or cosmic order that is not based on devotion to a particular religion is what we mean when we talk of spiritual faith. Beliefs in the intelligence of the cosmos, spiritual forces, or the interconnection of all life might fall under this category. Confidence in concepts, ideals, or systems that are not dependent on religious or spiritual frameworks is referred to as secular faith. Examples of secular faith include confidence in human potential, science, or morality. 4. The value of belief, source of strength, gives people the ability to draw from their own inner fortitude and bravery when confronted with difficult circumstances. It is possible for it to serve as a source of resilience and inspiration. In addition to providing people with a moral compass and ethical rules, guidance and morality also assist individuals in navigating difficult life circumstances. Creating a feeling of community and belonging among those who have similar views by providing social support and a network of care is one of the goals of this program. Protection from the divine. 1. The scope and the definition. Divine protection is the notion that a higher power or divine force watches over and protects people from harm or danger. This belief is connected to the concept of divine protection. People often get the impression that this protection is more spiritual than it is bodily. 2. Aspects relating to psychology. A deep feeling of security and certainty may be attained via the belief in divine protection, which can create a sense of security. It has the potential to make people feel as if they are not alone in the face of the uncertainties and problems that life presents. Providing relief from anxiety. It has the ability to provide relief from anxiety by encouraging the feeling that one is being cared for by a higher power. This belief reduces the tension that is connected with prospective threats or hazards. 3. Divine protection in its many forms. Prayer and rituals. Many different traditions include prayers, rituals, or ceremonies that are performed in order to evoke heavenly provision. The belief is that by engaging in these activities, one might call forth a blessing or a protecting presence. Symbols and talismans. Certain things or symbols, such as religious artifacts, amulets, or charms, are thought to provide protection because they are believed to symbolize divine energies. Conduct that is moral and ethical. It is often thought that those who live their lives in accordance with divine or spiritual principles are more likely to be aligned with protective energies or favor. 4. The function of divine protection. Comfort and reassurance. Provides people with emotional comfort and reassurance, therefore assisting them in coping with concerns and uncertainties. The practice of encouraging faithful living involves encouraging adherence to moral and ethical principles, as well as advocating activities that are considered to coincide with the intent of the divine. Assists in the development of a feeling of purpose and meaning, so supporting the conviction that one's existence is directed by a higher order or a beneficent force. There is a relationship between Christian faith and divine protection. Many times, faith and heavenly protection are inextricably linked to one another. When it comes to the belief in divine protection, faith serves as the foundation. Faith in a higher power or divine presence is the foundation upon which the belief in divine protection is built. A lack of faith may cause the idea of supernatural protection to not resonate as powerfully as it otherwise might. Divine protection may deepen faith. Having a personal experience with or believing in divine protection may help deepen faith. It is possible for people to have the experience of having their faith affirmed by the perception of being protected or by the beneficial results that are ascribed to divine intervention. Implications for everyday life. 1. The individual's routines. Practices that enhance your faith, such as meditation, prayer, or the study of spiritual writings, should be included into your activities to cultivate your faith. This exercise has the potential to strengthen your feeling of connectedness to the divine and to strengthen your faith in the divine's ability to protect you. Looking for support. When you are going through a difficult period, it is important to seek direction and comfort from faith-based support systems, such as spiritual groups or counselors. 2. Confronting and overcoming obstacles. Resilience. Through religion. When confronted with difficulties, let your religion to serve as a source of resilience. There is a correlation between having faith in supernatural protection and having a feeling of optimism and certainty while confronting challenges. In order to successfully navigate uncertainty, it is important to accept the unpredictability of life and to have faith that supernatural protection is at work, even if the results are not immediately apparent. 3. Faith and action are brought together, taking a balanced approach. Although having faith and being protected by the supernatural might be comforting, it is equally essential to take actionable efforts to assure one's own safety and ensuring that they are healthy. To effectively manage risks and obstacles, it is important to combine faith with concrete tactics. As a conclusion, faith and heavenly protection are experiences that are very personal and subjective, and they provide significant advantages to one's emotional and psychological well-being. They provide people a feeling of stability, a sense of purpose and direction, which enables them to handle the problems that life throws at them with optimism and perseverance. Being a living faith and righteousness, a journey through the divine. 1. A crucial component of a living faith. Living faith is not a fixed belief, but rather a dynamic and lively connection with the divine. This is because living faith is not a static belief. It entails a persistent and persistently active connection with God, in which faith is manifested via acts, ideas, and attitudes. Every facet of your life is altered as a result of this interaction, which brings it into alignment with the divine principles and purpose. The concept of religion as a living force is a living force that has the ability to motivate and encourage others. This is not only an intellectual acquiescence to the realities of the doctrines. Rather, it is a faith in the promises and nature of God that comes from the heart. This faith appears in the decisions you make on a daily basis, directing you through the chances and difficulties that life presents. Prayer, meditation, and introspection should be used on a consistent basis in order to cultivate a sense of spiritual connection. You will be able to hear God's voice clearly, feel His presence profoundly, and react to His instruction with a heart that is eager to embrace it because of this closeness. Engaging in spiritual activities may help you develop a more profound understanding of the will of God and enhance your faith. 2. Faith as an integral part of everyday life. Belief in action. Putting one's faith into practice is necessary. It involves incorporating spiritual principles into the choices and relationships that occur in daily life. In order to do this, it is necessary to demonstrate principles such as love, compassion, honesty, and fairness. Your actions become a mirror of your religion, enabling you to demonstrate the truth and significance of your beliefs. Kindness and acts of service. Reflect the love that God has for other people by volunteering your time and helping others. The transformational power of religion in your life is shown by these actions, regardless of how big or tiny they may come. Your relationship with the divine and with the community will be strengthened as a result of your service to others, which will not just benefit the people you assist. Maintaining your faith in the face of adversity requires you to make it through times of difficulties and suffering. It is a demonstration of the power and depth of your faith that you are able to trust God's plan and promises. even when the circumstances are difficult. It is possible for this unwavering commitment to serve as a strong testimony to the grace of God and to encourage others. 3. Ascending the road to righteousness. An explanation of righteousness. Righteousness may be defined as the relationship between your life and the heavenly standards of what is good and wrong, existing in a manner that is in conformity with the moral and ethical precepts of God is required. It is not by human effort alone that one may reach righteousness. Rather, it is through the grace and direction of God. Righteousness may be developed by the cultivation of characteristics such as humility, honesty, patience, and justice. Righteousness can be nurtured through proper cultivation. Each of these qualities molds your personality and directs your actions, bringing them into alignment with the will of God. This path of virtue may be maintained and strengthened by the practice of regular self-examination and repentance. Observing the commandments of God. One of the most important aspects of leading a good life is to follow the teachings and commandments of God. These commandments, whether they are discovered in holy texts or via spiritual insights, serve as a guide for leading an ethical life and acting in a socially responsible manner. They assist in navigating difficult circumstances and bringing your actions into alignment with the ideals of the divine. 4. Divine grace and guidance, their role in the process. Grace as a foundation. The foundation upon which righteousness is constructed is grace, which comes from God. Grace is the means by which you are capable of receiving forgiveness, power, and direction in order to live a life that is just. Being able to truly accept grace requires first coming to terms with the fact that holiness is not about attaining perfection, but rather about having a relationship with God. Guidance via the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is an essential component in directing you in the direction of doing what is right. Living in accordance with divine principles requires intelligence, conviction, and power, all of which are provided by the Holy Spirit. You may improve your ability to make choices that glorify God and are in accordance with His will by praying and reflecting in order to seek the direction of the Holy Spirit. 5. Faith that is lived out in community. Assist from the community. Participate in a religious community that will encourage and assist you on your path toward living a life of faith and morality. Having fellowship with other people allows for accountability, the exchange of insight, and the support of one another. It fortifies your determination and assists you in remaining in harmony with the principles of the divine. Shared worship and service. Take part in the worship and service that is performed by the community. By participating in these events, you will strengthen your own religious journey while also fostering a feeling of community purpose. Your spiritual development will be enhanced, and your commitment to live a moral life will be strengthened if you participate in community service and worship together. 6. Instructions on how to put your faith and righteousness into practice. Prayer, reading scripture, and introspection are all components of daily devotion, which should begin with a moment of devotion at the beginning of each day. This exercise will help you to concentrate your mind and heart on divine truths, which will set the stage for a day filled with deeds that are guided by faith. When making choices, it is important to do so with a conscious understanding of the teachings of the divine. You should think about how the decisions you make represent your religion and how they match with righteousness. Practicing mindfulness helps to ensure that your activities are in line with the spiritual principles that you hold dear. It is important to participate in repentance and regeneration on a consistent basis. Recognize the areas in which you are lacking and pray for divine assistance so that you may develop and improve. Because of this process, you will remain humble and receptive to the revolutionary work that God is doing in your life. Sharing your path of faith and righteousness with others is an important part of your witnessing faith. Your testimonies have the potential to motivate and uplift individuals in your immediate vicinity, illustrating how heavenly principles may be practically applied in ordinary life events. Imagine yourself as a shining example of love and hope, demonstrating the transformational power of religion. 7. Recognizing and honoring the trip. It is important to recognize and celebrate the development and growth that you have made on your religious journey. Appreciate and acknowledge the ways in which the practice of living a life of faith and holiness has influenced not just your own life, but also the lives of others. The continual work of divine grace is affirmed and encouraged via these festivals, which also urge sustained commitment. A spirit of thankfulness and praise should be cultivated in order to acknowledge and express appreciation for the spiritual direction and assistance that you are given. Prayer, worship, and acts of service are all wonderful ways to express your gratitude. The journey of faith and justice, a divine story. This thankfulness enhances your connection with the divine and reaffirms your resolve to leading a life that is characterized by faith and justice. Chapter 1 is titled, The Awakening. There was a young lady by the name of Miriam who lived in a beautiful hamlet that was surrounded by undulating hills and thick woods. Her heart often craved for something more profound, something that went beyond the routine of everyday life, despite the fact that she spent her days working in the little bakery that her family owned. It was from the elders of the village that Miriam had heard tales of individuals whose lives had been dramatically altered as a result of their connection with the divine. These tales were stories of people who had tremendous faith and righteousness. One evening, after a particularly hard day of kneading dough and making bread, Miriam found herself looking up at the night sky, which was filled with stars. During the time that she was uttering a quiet prayer, she felt a wave of yearning rush over her. It was as if she were receiving a soft, unspoken invitation to go on a voyage of faith, a trip that promised to take her beyond the limitations of her familiar world and into regions of divine purpose and spiritual satisfaction. The divine call is covered in Chapter 2. In the extremely early hours of the next morning, Miriam was surprised by a visitor. Her bakery was visited by an old gentleman who was dressed in the most basic of attire. His eyes, despite their advanced years, shone with a brilliance that seemed to cut through the everyday. It was he who identified himself as Elias, a traveling sage who was renowned for his profound relationship with the divine and his profound insight. Miriam was told by Elias about a way of life in which religion consisted not just of a belief, but also of a living force that permeated each and every moment of existence. During their conversation, he explained that living faith means demonstrating divine love and holiness via one's actions, ideas, and attitudes. At the same time that her heart was responding with the reality of his words, Miriam listened focusedly. The message that Elias sent was very clear. Faith necessitated taking action, and righteousness necessitated a life that was lived in accordance with divine principles. In the 3rd chapter, the journey begins. Miriam made the decision to make a change in her life once she embraced Elias's teachings. The first thing she did every morning was commit herself to prayer and meditation, with the intention of strengthening her relationship with the divine. Her days previously consisted exclusively of baking, but now they also included acts of compassion and service to others. She went out to people who were in need, providing them with food and comfort, and she discovered that her newly discovered purpose brought her pleasure. A test of Miriam's faith was shortly to come. Due to the terrible drought that the hamlet was experiencing, the bakery's supplies began to run low. There were a lot of locals who were having trouble, and stories of difficulties started to circulate. Instead of hoarding her remaining resources, Miriam had to decide whether she would continue to share them with others. Despite the rising uncertainty, she continued to give liberally due to the fact that she was guided by her faith, which led her to choose to believe in divine providence. Tests and Transformation is the title of Chapter 4. However, as Miriam's faith grew, the difficulties she encountered also increased. Once upon a time, a former friend named Leah, who had previously harmed her, made her way back to the hamlet in an effort to make amends. However, Miriam's heart was open to Leah, despite the fact that the villagers treated her with cold shoulders and skepticism. By hugging Leah and providing her a place to stay, she showed her forgiveness and extended it to her. It was not an easy task to demonstrate forgiveness. In order to let go of her lingering bitterness, Miriam had to face her own anguish and address it. In order to assist her in navigating this challenging circumstance, she prayed for the grace of God to provide her the strength and wisdom she needed. It was during this process that she came to the realization that forgiveness was a gift to herself, just as much as it was to Leah. The load of bitterness was lifted off of Miriam's shoulders, and it opened the path to healing and the establishment of new connections. The Fruits of Righteousness is the title of Chapter 5. The life of Miriam started to yield the fruits of her faith and virtue when the months turned into years after they had passed. Due to the fact that she set a good example, the community evolved into a place that is characterized by compassion and harmony. Others were moved to embrace their religion and live righteously as a result of her activities, which helped to cultivate a feeling of community and mutual support. The bakery owned by Miriam evolved into more than just a location to buy bread. It became a center of love and generosity. People from the surrounding villages came to visit not just because of the baked products, but also because of the spirit of heavenly love and righteousness that emanated from inside. Miriam's life was a live demonstration of the transformational power of religion, a living force that imbued each and every moment with a sense of purpose and divine grace. Chapter 6 is titled, The Divine Embrace. During her older years, as Miriam was looking back on her voyage, she could not help but think of the supernatural presence that had been guiding her throughout her journey. At one point, she found herself sitting under the same star-studded sky that had marked the beginning of her journey. This time, she was surrounded by friends and family members whose lives had been impacted by her religion. A feeling of utter tranquility engulfed her completely. As she felt the embrace of the divine, she was surrounded by a warmth that had accompanied her through every struggle and every victory. She was aware that her life, which was characterized by unshakable faith and virtuous behavior, had not only satisfied her most profound desires, but it had also functioned as a beacon of divine love and purpose. The narrative of Miriam became a treasured legend in the community, serving as a compelling illustration of how faith and righteousness, when completely accepted, had the potential to alter not just the life of an individual, but also the life of a whole community. As the town continued to thrive, Miriam's legacy continued to live on, serving as a monument to the lasting power of divine direction and the results of a life lived in faith and righteousness. If you like this holy message, make sure you like this video and subscribe our channel. Tell us about your thoughts in comment section. God bless you all. Amen.